What is up, guys? Today I'm going to show you how to maintain a pocket knife. Now, I am not the world's foremost expert on this. However, I have maintained a few and I have a few in my collection. So we're gonna go through it with the Knafs Lander today. The first thing is keep it clean. Obviously knives are meant to be used, but they're pretty dang easy to clean up. You can even just take like a wet wipe, you can take a towel, wipe off the blade, especially after you use it. So if you, for instance, maybe if you cut an apple and you leave the apple juice on there, it will actually patina the blade. So if you want that silky smooth stonewash finish to last, definitely clean up your blade. You can do it with a wet wipe, you can do it with a microfiber, you can do it with the edge of your t-shirt, you can do it with the edge of a friend's t-shirt. However you would like to do it, keep your knife clean and it will be great. Now, if you're talking about the internals, you can also wash the entire knife. If you want to take it apart, wash it part by part, you can. Warm water and a mild soap will also do the job. Just make sure that you dry things off because you are working with steels and metals and they will rust on you. So that's part one, keep it clean. Trick number two for maintaining your knife is oil your pivot. Now the pivot is this portion of the knife. Super easy to do. You can basically take a gun oil, you can take a mineral oil, you can take any sort of, maybe not any sort, but there are knife specific lubes. In particular, knife pivot lube is great. Oh, it smells good too. I don't know, somebody asked them one day, what is the smell? And they wouldn't give it away. It's their proprietary smell. So knife pivot lube is great. I also really like Tough Glide. We sell these on Knafs.com if you want to snag some to maintain your knives. But basically what you're gonna do is you're gonna drop just a drop of oil on each side of the pivot. And I like these needle nose tips because it makes it so much easier to do that. You don't need a ton of oil, but that will basically drop into the pivot and you can kind of do a little squiggle motion like this. And it basically will go into the pivot and make sure that everything's rolling smoothly. And we're on to trick number three. So trick number three with knife maintenance is not a hard trick, but it is one that will sneak up on you. So screws on pocket knives, because they're sitting there in your pocket, they're getting jostled around, they have a tendency to kind of start working their way out. And so one thing I'd recommend is, I don't know, every now and then just take a peek at your knife, do some knife peeping, and make sure that your screws are in place. A lot of times you'll just be able to look at it and see, oh, this is coming out. If it is coming out, you can either just tighten it back down or you can take your screw and you can drop a little bit of blue Loctite on there. So I'm just gonna use this generic, it's actually not blue Loctite, it is thread locker. Just gonna drop a drop of that on there and then throw it back in there. And basically what that does is that thread locker gets in the threads and locks the threads. That's such a self-explanatory name, I love it. But basically it will help your screws from escaping. Now, a word on Loctites. There are two different types. There is red and there is blue. A lot of times they come in containers that look exactly the same. One of them is poison. Red Loctite is poison. We actually sell it on the site. The reason we sell it on the site is because it does not come undone. And if there is some reason that you want a screw to never come undone on you, chances are you're going to want to put red Loctite on it. I don't recommend it. The devil himself designed it. For instance, if you were going to replace the thumb stud and you never want to change it again, red Loctite might be your friend. Now, if you have a knife with red Loctite on it and you're like, hey, I want to disassemble this, hit it with a blow dryer, hit it with a heat gun, and then just pray that it comes undone, because a lot of times red Loctite will not come undone. So I recommend blue Loctite. We sell it on Knafs.com. And it's really great. Next trick is stropping. So stropping is the fine art of basically honing the microscopic edge of your knife to get it back to hair shaving sharp. So this particular lander that I have here, I don't think it's the most sharp. Let's give it a little sharpness test on the arm. So it is almost hair shaving sharp, but what I like to do is strop. So you're gonna take a leather strop, and we actually sell these. This is a Knafs one. I feel like this is a big, hey, we sell this, we sell that. It's great, which we do. We sell stuff at Knafs and it's fun. So I'm gonna color on a little bit of this ultra fine strop compound. You can find different strop compounds. There's some greasy stuff that's like, how do I put this? It gets all over everything and it's a little nasty. This one is more waxy and it doesn't get all over everything. So I tend to prefer this strop compound. Works great. So to strop, basically what you're gonna do, you'll color on that on your knife, and then you're gonna go the opposite way of what you would do cutting. Doesn't take a lot of pressure, and you just back and forth, And I like to do this between sharpening to just kind of keep it hair shaving sharp. And it's great to do on Zoom calls, guys, not gonna lie. It's so nice to just sit there and like, yeah, yep. And it's like you're taking notes, but you're actually sitting there stropping. When you're done, the goal is to be at more of a hair shaving sharp spot. So you can see that is shaving my arm hair. So that is a great trick, stropping. Next on the list is sharpening. Now there's a ton of videos out there on sharpening. I am not the world's foremost sharpening expert, but I do love a good work sharp. And basically what you're gonna do is hone your edge. And a lot of times you'll raise a burr. So if it's super dull, you'll raise a burr by going the same direction. I think they say like 10 passes and then you're gonna go the other direction. But basically, one of the big parts of knife maintenance is keeping your knife sharp. They always say a sharp knife is a safe knife, and that is true because you don't have to apply as much pressure if it does slip. It's just a better experience when your knife is sharp. So I'm gonna encourage that as well. Now, at this point in the game, you just sit here and stare lovingly into your knife's eyes. I'm just teasing, that's not a step. The next step is you may wanna keep a light coat of oil on the blade, especially if it is a high carbon steel or a tool steel like D2. That doesn't have to be anything crazy. I'm just gonna take some Tough Glide and I'm just gonna drop it on there, give it a little there, give it a little here, and then I'm just gonna take a microfiber and just rub it in a little bit. Doesn't have to be wild, doesn't have to be crazy, but if you do oil your knife, it will prevent rust. Those are kind of the biggest things in keeping a knife good, keeping it rolling. Honestly, pocket knives will work for years and years if you maintain them. Just like a vehicle, if you disregard your vehicle, if you don't rotate the tires, if you don't change the oil, chances are it's gonna break down on you. Same thing with a pocket knife. If you don't sharpen it, if you don't maintain the pivot, it's gonna get all gummy, it's gonna get all nasty, and eventually it's gonna be like, man, I don't wanna cut for you. So I would encourage you to maintain your pocket knives. Let me know what other things you do in the comments to maintain your knives. And if you are super interested in knives and you want to learn more about them, you can visit knafs.com. We sell all the stuff that you see on the table, except for the sharpener. That's a great one from WorkSharp. We sell it on knafs.com, and we would be happy to sell one to you. How was that for a pitch? That was a great pitch. There you have it, guys. Thanks for watching. Be sure to subscribe, and let me know if you have any questions down in the comments. Thanks.